Listen, if nothing's been working in your life lately, your goals are blurry, your confidence is shaky, and your energy is scattered, then stop everything. Because I'm about to share 5 rules that don't take 5 months or 5 years. They take 7 days, just 1 week. And no, they're not magic. But they will make you look back and say, why didn't I start this earlier? Ready? Let's turn your life around. Boldly. Beautifully, starting now. Wake up with purpose, not pressure. Every morning you rise, you are faced with a choice. To chase the world or to chase your why. Most people, they wake up to alarms that feel like emergencies. They scramble through their phones, scroll through other people's lives, and wonder why they feel so lost before they've even brushed their teeth. That's pressure, that's chaos. That's not living, that's surviving. But when you wake up with purpose, something shifts. It's no longer about dragging yourself out of bed just because you have to. It's about choosing to rise because there's something inside you that refuses to sleep any longer. Imagine this. You open your eyes and instead of grabbing your phone, you grab your breath. You take a deep inhale, like a queen preparing to conquer her kingdom. And in that silence, you ask yourself, what kind of energy do I want to carry today? That's not fluff. That's strategy. That's leadership of your own life. Look around. The woman who built her business from her bedroom didn't start with money. She started with mornings. The athlete who broke records didn't begin at the gym. She began with the way she started her day. You know what's wild? Pressure tells you you're already behind. But purpose whispers, you're exactly where you need to be. Now move. A lot of people set an alarm to wake up. Few set an intention. And that's the game changer. You don't have to wake up at 5 a.m. like every self-help book tells you. But when you do wake up, make it sacred. Make it yours. Light a candle. Stretch. Journal. Pray. Dance. Stand in the mirror and remind yourself of the woman you're becoming. Because when you start your day chasing someone else's expectations, you end your day feeling empty. Think about it. How many times have you woken up to emails, demands, deadlines, and by noon your energy is gone, your patience is tested, and your confidence is on the floor? That's pressure. And it eats away at your identity. But now imagine this. You wake up and say, today, I will not be rushed. I will not be ruled. I will respond, not react. I am not someone's afterthought. I am my own priority. That energy, that's a woman who doesn't wait for permission. You may have a 9 to 5, kids to get ready, bills to pay, deadlines to meet. I get it. Life is real. But even if you give yourself just 10 minutes each morning to reconnect with who you are, that's power. That's alignment. That's a woman taking the steering wheel. There's a difference between waking up for the world and waking up for yourself. One drains you, the other fills you. Purpose isn't about some big mission all the time. It can be small, intentional, personal. It can be as quiet as making your own coffee instead of buying it, just so you can be alone with your thoughts. It can be as bold as looking yourself in the mirror and saying, I am not broken, I am becoming. Pressure says you're late. Purpose says you're ready. There's a fire that lives inside you, not to please others, not to prove yourself, but to wake up and live from the deepest parts of your truth. Because when a woman wakes up with clarity in her mind and courage in her chest, she becomes unstoppable. And that's the kind of energy this world can't ignore. You would never call your best friend stupid for making a mistake. You would never tell her she's not good enough, not pretty enough, or not pretty enough, or not worthy of love just because her day didn't go well. So why do you speak to yourself that way? Think about it. When your best friend texts you crying over a breakup, you don't say, well, maybe you weren't enough. No, you remind her of her worth, her strength, and her beauty. You lift her up with words like, he lost you. He lost a queen. And suddenly, even in her pain, she starts to breathe differently. Because your words gave her power. Now imagine what would happen if you spoke to yourself like that. Too often, women become their own biggest critics. One bad decision and the inner dialogue becomes toxic. You burn dinner? I can't do anything right. You miss a workout? I'm lazy. You have a breakdown? I'm weak. But if your best friend did any of those things, you wouldn't even let her finish that sentence. You'd look her dead in the eye and say, stop. You're human. You're allowed to fall apart. And you're still amazing. You've got to learn to do that for you. Let's say you walked into a meeting and stumbled on your words. That voice in your head starts yelling, you embarrass yourself. You're not smart enough. But if your best friend was in that room, would you let her walk out carrying that shame? No. You'd say, girl, you were nervous. It happens. You still showed up. You're growing. That's the voice you need to become for yourself. There are women who look in the mirror every morning and attack their own reflection. My skin looks terrible. I hate my body. I look so tired. But if your best friend walked in and said those same words about herself, you'd shut that down instantly. You'd say, are you kidding me? You are beautiful. You are glowing. You're just exhausted, not ugly. You'd pour love into her until she stood taller. So why do you rob yourself of that same love? Life is already hard. The world will criticize you. Society will try to box you in. Don't let your own voice be part of that attack. Instead, become your own shield. Your own best hype woman. Because if the voice inside your head is destructive, it doesn't matter how much validation comes from the outside. You'll always feel empty. But when that voice becomes kind, you'll feel empty. But when that voice becomes kind, empowering, even forgiving, something magical happens. You stop waiting for other people to heal you. You become your own healer. When you mess up, because you will, don't say, I'm a failure. Say, that was a hard moment, not a hard life. When you're tired, don't say, I'm not enough. Say, that wasn't my door, but I'm still destined for rooms they can't keep me out of. Think of how many times a day your best friend spirals and you tell her, it's just a bad day, not a bad life. Now go stand in your own storm and say it to yourself. Be gentle with your growth. Talk to yourself with the same grace you give others. When you start doing that, when you catch yourself mid-criticism and flip the script, you begin to rewire your entire mindset. You stop breaking your own heart every time things don't go perfectly. You stop chasing healing in others because you finally found it in your own voice. No is a complete sentence. Period. And you don't owe the world a story every time you choose yourself. But somewhere along the way, women were taught that saying no makes you selfish, rude, or cold. So we over-explain, we over-apologize, we shrink our power into a soft excuse. No, I can't make it tonight. I'm just really tired, but maybe next time, I'm so sorry. Why are you sorry for protecting your peace? Imagine your best friend is drowning in responsibilities. Family, work, everyone pulling her in 100 directions. And she finally says no to a dinner invite. But instead of feeling relieved, she spirals into guilt. She calls you, panicking, should I just go? I don't want them to think I'm rude. And what do you say to her? Girl, if they get mad at you for choosing rest, they were never for you to begin with. So now say that to yourself. Saying no doesn't make you mean. It makes you clear. It makes you grounded. It makes you free. You do not exist to be available to everyone at all times. Your time is sacred. Your energy is not on clearance. And your boundaries are not up for negotiation. Think about how often you've said yes when everything inside you screamed no. You went to events you didn't want to attend. You went to events you didn't want to attend. You went to 2 events. Right? You do not exist to be available to everyone at all times. So think about how often you've said yes when everything inside you screamed no. You went to events you didn't want to attend. You went to events you didn't want to attend. Took on work you didn't have the bandwidth for. Gave people another chance when they didn't even deserve a second thought. And then what? You ended up exhausted, bitter, and silently resentful, all because you were too afraid of looking selfish. Here's the truth. People who benefit from your lack of boundaries will always call your boundaries a problem. Let's take a real life example. A friend asks you to babysit last minute. You already had plans to finally rest, take a long shower, and just breathe. But instead of honoring your own needs, you say yes and you cancel on yourself. You don't say no because you think, what if she thinks I'm not supportive? But the more you betray yourself for others, the louder that internal emptiness becomes. Now imagine this version of you. She looks at her schedule, sees that she's running on fumes, and calmly says, I can't help tonight. She says, I can't help tonight. That's it. No story, no panic, just truth. And guess what? The right people will understand. The wrong ones will expose themselves. You don't need to explain why you're unavailable. Whether it's because you're drained, healing, rebuilding, or just don't want to. That's valid. No doesn't require a backstory. No doesn't have to come with a performance. You can say, no, I can't make it. You can say, no, I'm not comfortable with that. You can say, no, that doesn't work for me. And then you say nothing else. You sit in your silence with confidence. You were not put on this earth to bend over backward for approval. You were put here to own your time, your space, and your voice. Think about every time you've set a boundary and someone got upset. Not because you hurt them, but because you stopped letting them control you. That's not on you. That's their mirror cracking. You don't owe explanations for healing, for saying no to chaos, for choosing solitude over noise, for protecting your energy from drama, for turning down invitations that don't align with your spirit. Say no to people who only show up when they need something. Say no to draining conversations. Say no to fake apologies. Say no to being the emotional sponge for everyone else's mess. Say no to being emotional messes for everyone else's mess. Say no to shrinking your needs because someone else might be uncomfortable. When you learn to say no without defending it, you start walking like a woman who knows what she's worth. Your peace becomes louder than people's expectations. And your silence becomes more powerful than any over-explained yes. You don't need an audience to validate your glow. You don't need 100 likes to tell you your outfit is fire. You don't need a flame emoji to believe that you're beautiful. Because when you start looking good for you and not for the algorithm, you start stepping into a whole new version of yourself. One that's not edited, filtered, or seeking approval. There's something powerful about waking up, putting on that bold lipstick, that fitted blazer, or that flowing sari. Not because anyone's watching, but because you are. Dressing up for your own mirror, for your own energy, for your own damn standard. That's royalty. That's what queens do. How many times have you seen women post something online and immediately go back to check how many likes it's getting? Only 34 likes? Should I delete it? But let's flip the script. What if you wore that red dress and didn't post it? What if you slayed that eyeliner, took no selfie, and still felt unstoppable? That's when you know the beauty isn't on the screen, it's in the soul. You see, we've been raised in a world where everything has to be witnessed to be worthy. But that's a lie. Your glow doesn't need proof. Your style doesn't need applause. If the only time you feel beautiful is when someone double taps your photo, you're renting your confidence from strangers. And girl, that rent is due every day. Let's talk about real life examples. You wake up, make your coffee, tie your hair, and wear a clean, sharp outfit, even if you're working from home. No one sees you, no stories, no reels, no likes. But when you walk past the mirror and catch your own reflection, something clicks. You nod, you smirk, because you look like someone who respects herself. That's the energy. Or think about the gym. So many women avoid working out unless they're going with friends or posting a gym selfie. You pay for the gym, you smile at a joke, you call up on a favorite. But imagine this. You walk into the gym, put on those sleek leggings, tie your shoes tight, and work out with zero attention. No videos, no captions, just sweat and self-discipline. That's not just fitness, that's inner fire. Even when you go to the grocery store, yes, the grocery store, you don't have to wear a hoodie and hide. Maybe that's the day you put on mascara, just because it makes you feel a little more you. Not for the cashier, not for the camera, just because you like who you see. When you start looking good for yourself, something sacred happens. You stop dressing for revenge, for validation, or for competition. You start dressing like a woman who knows that how she presents herself is an act of self-respect, not performance. You don't need an occasion to wear that dress. You are the occasion. And it's not about makeup or heels or a designer bag. It's about intent. Whether you rock a power suit or an oversized hoodie, wear it like you chose it with love. You don't owe perfection to the world, but you do owe reverence to yourself. Stop scrolling through other people's beauty and forgetting your own. Their glow doesn't dim yours. Their lips, their waist, their filters, none of it changes what you already carry. Real power is when you walk past a mirror and smile without needing a compliment. Real beauty is when you leave your house knowing that even if no one notices, you did. Because confidence isn't created when they notice you. Confidence is built when you notice yourself. Look good not for the comments, not for the shares, not for the people who ghosted you or the ones who secretly watch your stories. Look good because it makes you feel awake, alive, worthy, ready. And when you do that, when you walk into a room already impressed with yourself, the world doesn't have a choice. It catches up. Your dream is not waiting for the perfect moment. It's waiting for you to show up. Not for hours, not for a weekend retreat, not for someday when life finally calms down. Just 30 minutes. That's it. That's the game changer. You give hours to your boss. You give minutes to texts, to gossip, to scrolling past lives that aren't even yours. But what would happen if you gave just 30 intentional minutes to you? To that dream that keeps whispering at 2 a.m.? To the business idea, the book, the YouTube channel, the passion project you keep saying next month to? Let me tell you what happens. You start becoming the woman you're meant to be. Think about it. If you can binge watch a whole season in one weekend, you have time. If you can scroll TikTok until your phone says low battery, you have time. But your dream, it's starving. It's begging for scraps of your focus. And here's the truth. No one's coming to build it for you. It's your responsibility. It's your blueprint. Imagine this. A woman sits down every morning at 6:30 a.m. for just 30 minutes before her kids wake up. Laptop open, coffee beside her. She writes one page of the book she's been dreaming about. Not 10, just one. And in a week, she has 7. In a month, she has a chapter. In 6 months, she's got a story that's no longer locked inside her. It's alive. That's what 30 minutes can do. It stacks, it compounds, it transforms. Or take the woman working a 9 to 5 who always wanted to start a skincare brand. Instead of waiting for a miracle investor or the right moment, she uses her lunch breaks. 30 minutes to research packaging, 30 minutes to email suppliers, 30 minutes to sketch her vision. Everyone else is scrolling Instagram. She's building something the world will buy from one day. The difference between her and the woman who only dreams? Consistency, not conditions. 30 minutes daily is you telling your future, I'm not waiting for luck. I'm creating it. It's showing God, the universe, whoever you believe in, that you're serious. You create the program. You schedule the time. You plan the day. You map out the steps. You pre-orders. You email people. You shed your vision. You screen people. You screen people. You hear them out 4 to 4. That's what I do. That you're not just wishing, you're working. You don't need a full day. You need full focus for a fraction of your time. Imagine a woman learning French because she wants to live in Paris one day. Not someday. One day. She doesn't have a tutor or a school. She has an app. And every night before bed, for 30 minutes, she practices. After a year, she's not just dreaming of Paris cafes. She's ordering espresso in perfect French. You don't need permission. You need a routine. Even if you have nothing figured out yet, no strategy, no roadmap, no plan. 30 minutes of sitting with your dream every day will open doors. Write your ideas. Record voice notes. Watch tutorials. Build your skill. Because while everyone else is distracted by noise, you're building in silence. No one can steal your dream, but they can outwork you. If you let them, and they will, if you keep waiting for the right time to begin. Make it sacred. Set the timer. Put your phone away. Let your dream feel seen. Whether you're building an empire or planting the first seed, 30 minutes is enough to start shaking the ground. You don't need to do everything today. You just need to do something. And then do it again tomorrow. And the next day. Your dream doesn't need your excuses. It needs your consistency. Just 30 minutes daily relentlessly, like it's non-negotiable, like your future depends on it. Because it does. Perfection is a myth dressed in anxiety. Progress is the truth dressed in courage. And if you keep waiting to celebrate yourself until everything is flawless, you will never clap for your own growth. So many women are walking around feeling like failures because they didn't hit some invisible finish line. I haven't lost all the weight yet. My business isn't booming yet. I still cry at night sometimes. But pause. Have you seen how far you've come? Let's talk about the woman who used to spiral every time life got hard, who used to break down over things she now walks through with grace. Is she perfect? No. But she's stronger. She's more aware. And that matters. That's growth. That's progress. So why isn't she celebrating it? Imagine your best friend ran her first 5K after a year of doubting her strength. She finishes breathless and proud. Would you say, but it wasn't a marathon? No. You'd scream, you did that! Look at you go! That's the same energy you owe yourself. When you used to stay in toxic relationships and now you walk away from red flags after the first wave of discomfort, that's not perfection. That's transformation. That's achieving something totally numbing and transcendent. When you used to second guess your worth and now you apply for jobs you used to think were out of your league, that's not perfection. That's power. You are allowed to be proud before you're done. In fact, you must be proud before you're done, or you'll never stay long enough to finish. Think about the student who used to fail math and now she gets a C+. Is it an A? No. But is it progress? Absolutely. And if she waits until she's perfect to feel successful, she's denying herself the fuel that progress gives. Because progress is the reward that keeps you showing up. Let's take another example. A woman starting her YouTube channel. Her first video is awkward, her lighting is off, and she stumbles over her words. But she posts it anyway. Why? Because she values action over image. That one post might not be perfect, but it's better than the 100 videos she never uploaded because she was too afraid of not being flawless. And one day, those early videos will be proof of how far she's come. You see, perfection paralyzes people. Progress moves people forward. You don't need the perfect body to feel sexy. You don't need the perfect bank account to feel successful. You don't need the perfect relationship to feel loved. You just need evidence that you're trying, that you're evolving, that the woman you were last month is not the woman standing here now. Stop saying, I'll celebrate when, and start saying, I'm proud of what I just did. You cleaned your room after 2 weeks of being mentally drained? Celebrate it. You drank water instead of soda for 1 full day? Celebrate it. You said no to something that used to break your boundaries? Celebrate it. You said no to something that used to break your boundaries? That's a victory. Perfection will always lie to you. It will say, you're still not enough. But progress, it tells the truth. It say, look at you, rising again. You don't need the world's applause. Start clapping for yourself when no one's watching. That small step forward you made today, someone else is still afraid to take it, and you did it. You survived things that tried to kill your spirit. You rebuilt yourself after breaking. You learned how to breathe through storms that used to drown you. Celebrate that. Celebrate the fact that you're showing up when you could have shut down. Celebrate every baby step, every awkward first attempt, every moment you chose growth over giving up. Don't measure your worth by how perfect you perform. Measure it by how boldly you show up in your imperfect moments. Because that's where your strength lives. That's where the real you is born. Not in the polished highlight reel, but in the gritty, beautiful, sacred progress only you can understand. Every single day you have two choices: to rise or to remain, to become the woman you dream of, or to keep scrolling through the lives of those who already chose to become her. Life will never hand you the perfect conditions. It will not pause the chaos, it will not mute the noise, and it certainly won't wait for your fear to subside. So you must move, even when you're scared, even when you're tired, even when you don't know how the story ends. Because queens aren't made in comfort zones. They are built in moments of decision. You see, transformation doesn't require a miracle. It requires a moment. One moment of clarity, one moment of courage, one moment where you say, I've had enough of shrinking. I've had enough of doubting. I've had enough of waiting for someone to pick me. No one is coming to save you. And that's your power. You are the rescue. You are the answer. You are the storm and the calm after it. So take the pressure off perfection and give yourself permission to evolve. Speak to yourself like you matter, because you do. Say no without a stutter, without a story, without guilt. Say it like your peace depends on it, because it does. Dress like the masterpiece that you are, not the product of someone else's approval. Stand tall in a room that doesn't yet understand your worth, because one day they'll look back and say, we saw her before the world did. There is no timeline on success. Oprah was fired at 23. Priyanka was underestimated countless times. Steve Harvey slept in his car before he stood on stages. What made them different? Not talent alone. It was consistency. It was vision. It was their ability to hold on to their identity when the world tried to rename them. You too must hold on. You must water your dream like it already exists. Give it 30 minutes daily. That's not small. That's sacred. That's the beginning of legacy. And stop measuring your life by the opinions of people who don't even clap for themselves. Not everyone will understand your evolution, and that's okay. You're not here to be understood. You're here to be unforgettable. Progress is personal. You're not late, you're not behind. You're right on time for your life. Celebrate the you that's still trying, still healing, still rising, because that version of you, that's the real MVP. That's the one who didn't quit. That's the one who's going to change everything. And if no one has told you today, let me be the first. You are not too much. You are not too broken. You are not unworthy. You are powerful beyond belief. You are a walking miracle in motion. There is fire in your bones, grace in your steps, and divinity in your dreams. Don't just chase success. Embody it. Don't just ask for respect. Walk like it's already yours. Don't just hope for a different life. Create it. One choice, one rule, one day at a time. As Maya Angelou said, each time a woman stands up for herself, she stands up for all women. This is how we find our power even when the world is telling us no. This is how we find our power. As Priyanka once reminded the world, don't try to squeeze into a glass slipper. Instead, shatter the glass ceiling. And now, it's your turn. Shatter it. Step into the woman you were always meant to become. Not tomorrow, not next year, now. Because you are not just part of this world, you are a force that will change it. So rise, speak, glow, create, not because you're ready, but because you finally realized you were born for this.